The story of Jonah, part 3. Yesterday I talked about the fact that Jonah was swallowed by this fish, and I said, I think the fish's name was Grace, and somebody made a comment and said, no, they thought the fish's name was Sheol, and I looked it up and I read the Bible, and I can see where maybe they thought that, because it does say that Jonah in his prayer said that he went down into the depths of Sheol. And, he went down in the depths of the fish, but he also was in the depths of the ocean in a hopeless situation, surrounded by all sorts of sea creatures, surrounded by seaweed. And there was no way he was going to get out unless the fish came and swallowed him up and ate him. And to me, that's still grace. So if you want to call him Sheol, you can call him Sheol. I am going to call him Grace because he rescues, just like grace rescues us. He rescued Jonah. But today's lesson is a little bit different. I want you to think for a moment of someone that you really, really dislike. Now, don't say, oh, Mike, I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor, I don't hate anybody. Don't lie to me. We all do. We all have those people that we dislike for whatever reason. Maybe it's a people group. Maybe it's a political party. Maybe it's a politician. Maybe it's an ex from a relationship. There are people that we struggle with. I'm reminded of a story, it's a really old story, of a woman coming down and entering onto an interstate. And this was in the day before cell phones, and her car died. And as she was trying to figure out what to do, she popped the hood, she looked at this engine, had no idea what to do with it, and she's trying to figure out what to do, and she's praying and asking God for help on this thing, because she's in the middle of nowhere. When all of a sudden she heard a bunch of motorcycles coming up, motorcycle gang, and they were all your stereotypical ones. They were big, they were tattoo-filled, they had the bandanas on their heads, they just looked like rough characters. One of them came up, the biggest one, and he looked under the engine, he did some tinkering, the car started right up. And as he's walking away, he looked at the lady and he says, don't judge a book by its cover, ma'am. And they got on their bikes, rode away, she started the car and drove away. Lesson learned. Here's the thing, you see, the Ninevites were cruel, evil, terrible people. They would kill you at the drop of a hat. They were sexually immoral. They sacrificed babies. They were just nasty people. And they hated the Jews. Jonah was a Jew. And so he was struggling with this because God was saying, hey, those people that you hate more than anybody else? Guess what? You get to go and tell them about Jesus. How would you feel about that? I don't think I would really like it. Well, Jonah didn't either, but he went. And he went in after the fish vomited him up, and he'd learned the lesson, and God called him again. He went to Nineveh. He started to preach. Started to fight. No, my dogs. That's my dogs fighting. Not Nineveh. He started to preach to the Ninevites. Sorry about this. Oakley, knock it off. I love dogs. I really do. Anyway, he started to preach. The Ninevites turned their lives over to God, and God relented because they repented, and he did a marvelous work. Jonah had an opportunity to reach out to a people that never would have been reached before because of his faithfulness to God. So let me ask you another question, or that question again earlier. Who do you really hate? Who are you struggling with right now? Maybe they've hurt you. Maybe they don't deserve forgiveness, but you need to forgive them. Who is that? Because it doesn't matter who you've seen. It doesn't matter how you've been hurt by those people, or how those people bother you, or even how those people offend God. Here's the thing. God loves them, and they're made in his image. And he calls each of us to reach out to those kind of people. So let me ask you one more question. What can you do today to reach out to somebody that really needs to know God's love? It doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe it's holding the door open for somebody. Maybe it's saying please or thank you. Maybe it's having a smile on your face when you'd rather have a frown. There's so many ways that we can share God's love to people that need it. And you know what? That's what we're here for as believers. We're not here to defend God. We're not here to make a stand for God. We are here simply to show the love of God and pray for those that persecute us. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.